friends and neighbors, I've been missing you and just wanted to bring you a little bit of a lesson from our house to yours. So I'll be starting with Matthew 27, reading verses 45 to 57. From noon until 3 in the afternoon, darkness came over all the land. About 3 in the afternoon, Jesus cried out in a loud voice, my God, why have you forsaken me?" When some of those standing there heard this, they said, "He's calling Elijah." Immediately one of them ran and got a sponge. He filled it with wine vinegar, put it on a staff, and offered it to Jesus to drink. The rest said, "Now leave him alone. Let's see if Elijah comes to save him." And when Jesus had cried out again in a loud voice, he gave up his spirit. At that moment the curtain of the temple was torn in two from top to bottom. The earth shook, the rocks split, and the tombs broke open. The bodies of many holy people who had died were raised to life. They came out of the tombs after Jesus' resurrection and went into the holy city and appeared to many people. When the centurion and those with him who were guarding Jesus saw the earthquake and all that had happened, they were terrified and exclaimed, "Surely he was the Son of God." Many women were there watching from a distance. They had followed Jesus from Galilee to care for his needs. Among them were Mary Magdalene, Mary the mother of James and Joseph, and the mother of Zebedee's sons. As evening approached, there came a rich man from Arimathea named Joseph, who had himself become a disciple of Jesus. And I'm going to continue to read verses 58 to 61. Going to Pilate, he asked for Jesus' body, and Pilate ordered that it be given to him. Joseph took the body, wrapped it in a clean linen cloth, and placed it in his own new tomb that he had cut out of the rock. He rolled a big stone in front of the entrance to the tomb and went away. Mary Magdalene and the other Mary were sitting there opposite the tomb. But why did Jesus have to die?
John 3:16 and 17. For God so loved the world that he gave his one and only Son, that whoever believes in him will not perish, but have everlasting life. For God did not send his Son into the world to condemn the world, but to save the world through him.
Because of love. So here's the dough after it has had a chance to rise. And one of the fun things you can do with yeast dough that you can't do with any other kind of dough, because it has lots of air bubbles in it, Brady's going to punch it. Ooh! Now look at it. And that's kind of fun. So then we're going to take it out, we're going to roll it out, and then we will show you the next part of our resurrection rolls. So Brady is dipping miniature marshmallows in the oil or melted butter, and the recipe actually calls for a large marshmallow to represent Jesus' body. We didn't have that, so we thought it was okay because Jesus' body was broken. And this actually, I think, is a little bit easier to manage rolling up in the tomb anyway. So then he's moving them over to the cinnamon and sugar mixture, which is representing the spices that were put on Jesus' body. If you remember me mentioning Joseph of Arimathea, that was actually somebody who decided to follow Jesus, but was kind of secretive about it, but then it made it okay for him to offer to take Jesus' body away. So John 19 verses 39 to 42 tells us, he was accompanied by Nicodemus, the man who earlier had visited Jesus at night. Nicodemus brought a mixture of myrrh and aloes, about 75 pounds. Taking Jesus' body, the two of them wrapped it with the spices in strips of linen. This was in accordance with Jewish burial customs. At the place where Jesus was crucified, there was a garden, and in the garden a new tomb in which no one had ever been laid. Because it was the Jewish day of preparation, and since the tomb was nearby, they laid Jesus there. So as you notice, Brady is kind of twisting the ends. We rolled them up like crescent rolls, but made sure that the ends are tight so that the marshmallow doesn't ooze out of the ends when it melts in the oven. That's it. It's amazing how I can hear this story every year, and yet different parts of it stand out in new ways to me. So, I will be again reading from Matthew 27, but this time verses 62 to 66. The next day, the one after preparation day, the chief priests and the Pharisees went to Pilate. "Sir," they said, "we remember that while he was still alive that deceiver said, 'After 3 days I will rise again.' So give the order for the tomb to be made secure until the 3rd day. Otherwise his disciples may come and steal the body and tell the people that he has been raised from the dead. This last deception will be worse than the first." "Take a guard," Pilate said. "Go, make the tomb as secure as you know how." So they went and made the tomb secure by putting a seal on the stone and posting the guard. So now we have all of our tombs filled and sealed, and we're going to bake them in the oven and see what happens.
See what happens. Oh.
Concluding the story, reading from Matthew 28, verses 1 to 8. After the Sabbath, at dawn on the 1st day of the week, Mary Magdalene and the other Mary went to look at the tomb. There was a violent earthquake, for an angel of the Lord came down from heaven, and, going to the tomb, rolled back the stone and sat on it. His appearance was like lightning, and his clothes were white as snow. The guards were so afraid of him that they shook and became like dead men. The angel said to the women, "Do not be afraid, for I know that you are looking for Jesus who was crucified. He is not here. He has risen, just as he said. Come and see the place where he lay. Then go quickly and tell his disciples, 'He is risen from the dead and is going ahead of you into Galilee. There you will see him. Now I have told you.' So the women hurried away from the tomb, afraid yet filled with joy, and ran to tell his disciples." So, Brady is anxious to try one of the resurrection rolls to see what happened when we bake them. Let's see inside. Oh, look!
It's empty.
The tomb is empty. He is risen. And I wanted to share this moment with you, not because it's something we traditionally do at Easter. We are jumping out of our comfort zones and trying new things. You guys are actually kind of my guinea pigs for possibly maybe not doing quite this complicated of videos for my school kiddos, but being on camera a little bit. And yeah, it took COVID-19 to do it. But we miss you and hope you have a happy Easter.